In every race I've been in, there always comes a point where I wipe the dirt off my face, look out at the horizon, and say to myself, this sucks. I want to go home. Yes, endurance sports, whether it be an ultramarathon, traditional marathon, triathlon, whatever, they're very often not fun and sometimes they're downright miserable. But completing an extreme endurance event feels amazing and it will leave you with a sense of accomplishment and fulfillment like you have never felt before. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. Today, I want to go over some tips to help you break through those mental barriers you face late in a race, and not only help you survive a race, but to thrive and enjoy it. You already possess all the tools you need to complete your next tough race, and I'm hoping that I can just shine some light on those tools and help you dig deep, find out how to use them, and go out there and kick some ass. Okay, no bullshit, no filler, no advertisement. Let's get right into it with my first piece of advice, and that would be the checkpoint mindset. Think of a race not as an entire race or event, but as a series of checkpoints. Aid stations make phenomenal checkpoints, but you can also use intermediate distances or even landmarks. If I'm doing a 100-mile race and I'm struggling at mile 25, I don't think, oh my god, I am only a quarter way done with this race. No, I think, oh, I'm 4 miles away from the next aid station, or I'm 6 miles away from the 50K mark. It's easy to feel insignificant in a race, but making small checkpoints and milestones can break down an insurmountable task into a small series of minor victories that can get you that much closer to the finish line. As a pro tip, if you're intending to be competitive during these races, you can set your pace and even your nutrition based on these preset checkpoints. When you do that, you can then keep track of your time as a sort of over-under based on each segment and add up the times, and it makes it a lot easier, especially late in that race when you have ultra brain, ultra math, and endurance math is kind of tough. So knowing that you're 30 minutes ahead, 15 minutes behind, 20 minutes ahead, that's a lot easier to add up than overall paces and time. I did this back for Cruel Jewel in 2022. I still have the laminated card. It's got all my pace, it's got my nutrition, hydration, and I used each of the aid stations as a checkpoint so that I could make sure that I was doing everything I needed to, and I found that to be extremely helpful, and it allowed me to finish that race right under 36 hours. My next piece of advice is to stop. Just stop. Seriously. Stop running, sit down, and most importantly, calm down. I feel like there's two scenarios where you need to use this. The first being that it's late in a race, it's midnight, you feel like you've been walking for 3 hours, you look down at your watch, and holy shit, you've only gone half a mile. What's going on? I am never gonna reach the finish line. What am I doing out here? The other scenario is the exact opposite. It's early in a race, you're running hard, it's a couple hours in, and all of a sudden you start panicking, you start breathing heavy, your heart rate's a little higher. You look over, that guy that's in way worse shape than you seemingly is now running by you. What's going on? Am I bonking? Did I eat something bad? What is going on? Just stop. Stop. Find somewhere to sit down or lie down, set your watch for 5 minutes, and just breathe. When that 5 minutes is up, assess yourself. Get up and get moving, or maybe you need 5 more minutes. Sip some water, eat something. Breathe. Don't do this for more than 5, 10, 15 minutes, but if you don't feel like you're in the right headspace to go out right then, give yourself a couple more minutes, don't rush it. During Forgotten Florida, my knee was on fire. It had been hurting since mile 20. I was now at mile 80, and I just had to stop. I stopped, I set my alarm for 10 minutes, I gave my knee a rub, I gave my calves a rub, I closed my eyes, and I just reflected on the whole race. Once that 10 minutes was up, I gave myself 5 more minutes because I was exhausted. But after that 5 minutes, I got up, trudged on, and I finished that race running with a smile on my face and a new perspective. It's easy to become overwhelmed, but giving yourself a few minutes during a race is well worth it to regain a shred of sanity and put things in a new perspective. My next piece of advice is to not make any major decision at night. Witching hours between 3 to 4 a.m., and it's associated with demonic presence, supernatural events, and ultra runners prematurely DNFing races they should have finished. For most ultra endurance events, if you've made it to the early hours of the next morning, it means you've been awake for at least 24 hours and have been racing probably a large portion of those. I found that the darkness magnifies exhaustion, perceived exertion, loneliness, and makes me question why the hell I'm out here and why the hell I'm even doing this. But as soon as that sun starts rising, I go from shit, I've been running all night, to shit, I've been running all night. Seeing that sun illuminate the horizon and allowing me to take off that headlamp, release that burden, it seems to erase all that loneliness, all that depression, and I stop questioning why I'm doing this, and I start looking forward to that next day. During Just Survived 125, I was death marching to the mile 90 checkpoint. It was during witching hour. I was exhausted, depressed. I just did not want to be outdoors 1 minute longer. It had taken me about 6.5 hours to cover the previous 15 miles, and I didn't even want to think about how long it was going to take to cover the next 35 miles in the state that I was feeling. But just as I was approaching that next checkpoint, the sun began to rise, and I felt that energy meter start ticking up, and I had this renewed sense of vigor, and I wanted to race. When I got to that checkpoint, I saw the volunteers, I was chatting away. They said to me, they're like, wow, why are you in such a good mood? And I was like, man, because the sun's up and I'm ready to go. Got my gear swapped out and I got my ass out of that checkpoint as quick as I could. I ended up covering those last 35 miles in about 7 hours, which was only slightly longer than it took me for the previous 15 to get to that checkpoint when I was on the verge of quitting. As a pro tip, if you're feeling really beaten down, you just cannot go on any longer, but you're close to that sunrise, give yourself 15-20 minutes, no longer than 30, just to rest, close your eyes, and try to sync up your sleep with the rising of the sun. Timing your sleep with the rising sun can sort of simulate a healthy sleep cycle, and there's a chance you'll feel rejuvenated even though it's just a short rest. I have used this method on multi-day ultras and it's given me some pretty good success. My next piece of advice is one of my absolute favorites. I do it all the time, and it's give yourself a task. One of my favorite tasks is being ultra aware of my body and treating myself as kind of a machine. Do a full body scan. Do you have any aches or pains? Focus on that area. Try not to overcompensate and cause a different injury. What's your hydration and nutrition plan? Do you have a plan for the upcoming aid station? Go over that plan multiple times. What kind of food are you going to grab at that aid station? What's your electrolyte situation? Are you going to fill up both bottles or just one? Focus on this plan, hyper-focus on it so that when you get to the aid station, you can do your business and get the hell out of there as quick as possible. I find that focusing on what I'm going to do at an aid station prevents me from lingering, prevents me from sitting down, chatting, doing things I don't need to do, and allows me to execute my plan, get what I need, and get out of there. One of the main problems I see late in these races are that people stop at an aid station, they don't have a plan, they start eating, drinking, they sit down, they're talking. Before you know it, 30-40 minutes has gone by, they've locked up, and they say, you know what? I like sitting here next to a fire with hot food, and I'm gonna quit. I don't want to do this anymore. This is better than running. Don't give yourself that opportunity. Getting back to giving yourself a task, oftentimes what'll happen is that you'll forget about those aches and pains, you'll forget about those mental struggles, and you're gonna hyper focus on executing that task, that plan, even if that plan is just getting you to the next aid station. For a personal anecdote, last year I was doing a cross Florida 200. Me and my buddy Matt Clapper, we were approaching Ocala Forest, and I was just on the verge of quitting. I was miserable. I didn't want to be out there anymore. As soon as we got to Ocala Forest, it was dense, the trail was hard to follow, and I gave myself the job of being the navigator. This job allowed me to become hyper-focused on following that trail, giving Matt instructions, and getting us through that 40 miles of forest. Now what happened was, I was so hyper-focused on not wasting a mile more than we needed to, that I put my head down, I followed that trail, and I got us through that entire 40 miles of forest, and I forgot about all my struggles, I forgot about my woe is me, I'm tired out here, and I executed that plan. Now, being hyper-focused is great. It helps you execute a plan. I do not recommend being hyper-focused like this an entire race. It's just mentally exhausting, at least for me. There are periods of time where I need to put on my headphones, put on a good playlist, and just flow to the trail, just jam out and have a good time. But there are periods of time where you're feeling really rough. You need to really put things in perspective, focus on yourself under a microscope, and figure out what you need to do to get to that next aid station, even if that means treating yourself like a machine. Now, if you've noticed, most of my tips are for when you're alone, you need to motivate yourself, but sometimes the best decision you can make is to find someone else and share some miles with them. This can be as little as 1 or 2 miles, or it can be as much as an entire race, finding someone to run it with you. The miles tend to fly by when you're conversing with someone else, and you may even make a friend out there, even if it's just for a mile or two. During my first 100 miler, the long haul 100, I met my buddy Neil Moser out there. We ran the first couple miles together, and then we went our separate ways. At mile 60, we ran into each other again, and we were both pretty beaten down, we were both pretty broken, and we were hurting a little bit, and we ended up spending the last 40 miles running, or should I say walking together. We chatted, we joked. After every 10-mile loop, we stopped at his tent, and we laid there, we stretched, we ate, and this is actually how I met my current running group, Run Fluent. I met my coach Chris Stangl. So sharing a few miles with a friend not only helped me finish the race with a smile on my face, but also helped me sync up with a large group of absolutely amazing people. I hope you guys enjoyed these tips, and I hope you found them intriguing enough to try out at your next race or endurance event. If you like these tips, please consider liking the video, maybe give it a share. If you want more fitness and endurance related content, please consider subscribing to my channel. But if not, it's all good. I'm just happy you stuck with me this far. As always, thanks for watching, and I can't wait to see you do something amazing.